I'm Justin.
I'm Travis.
And
Welcome to Wrestling Junkie.
Alright, we just got done watching NXT Deadline, and I enjoyed it. What was your thoughts overall on the pay-per-view?
Yeah, overall, I think most matches were really good. The one thing I didn't care about too much about the Iron Survivor match, it's just like the format of the match. I know you said that you liked it, but I just kind of didn't care for it. I thought the timer for like each superstar to come out, I thought it should have been like a little bit shorter, maybe to like get everybody in faster. But yeah, the matches, they were great. But yeah, before I get into too much detail, we could kind of get into the first match.
Yeah, and our first match is the Women's Iron Survivor match. We had Zoe Stark, Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade, Indy Hartwell, and Kiana James. Now, the format of this match is we have two people starting off this match, which was Zoe Stark and Roxanne Perez. Then every 5 minutes, new people come out. And if you either get pinned, submitted, or disqualified, you get thrown into a penalty box for 90 seconds. And whoever has the most points at the end of the match is the winner. And it's a 25-minute time limit match. So, yeah, we start off with this match with, like I said, Zoe Stark and Roxanne Perez. And this entire card is pretty much a story of good wrestling, but not no crazy moments each match. Like every match was like you said, a solid match, just no big moments. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to get it started, first of all, most of y'all probably already know. I've said this before in other videos, but I'm going to say it again. Mainly, I watch Raw and SmackDown and the WWE pay-per-views, and that's pretty much it. So, I'm, newer to, the NXT wrestlers and whatnot. I know a lot of them. I know them by name. I might have seen, a match or two by them. But, for the most part, I'm not familiar with them, But, the two people who impressed me the most out of this match is 100% Roxanne Perez. She just looked great. She had a lot of amazing moments. She was diving off the top rope onto, the crowd of people on the outside of the ring. But yeah, she looked really good. She ends up winning the match towards the end, obviously. But yeah, she definitely impressed me. And the other one was
Indy Hartwell.
Yes, Indy Hartwell. Yeah, they both look great. And hopefully we could see them join the main roster soon enough.
Yeah, I think really any of them I think are ready for main roster. Roxanne Perez, me and you were talking about it when we were watching, and she had a lot of the crowd was really behind her. Especially in the start of the match, you had people chanting your name and all that. So I think her on SmackDown would be pretty solid. She'd be another good pickup to add more depth to that women's SmackDown roster. And then our next match, we had Alba Fire vs. Isla Dawn, and this was a quicker match. This was the shortest match on the night, coming around 10 minutes, I believe. Yeah, this was another great match. They had one point where Alba Fire, or at the start of the match, Isla Dawn takes off the turnbuckle, and that would be used in the end of the match. But yeah, like I said in the last match, no big spots really happening the entire night, but it was just good wrestling. And yeah, after that, Alba Fire at one point had Isla Dawn on the outside, and she dove through the bottom rope onto her. That was a pretty cool move. But yeah, what was your thoughts on the match and stuff like that?
Yeah, this was, to me at least, probably the worst match on the card. Not that it was terrible, obviously. They're both decent. But it was mainly for me the ending. It's hard to even explain this. So basically, the ref gets cursed, is the way the commentators put it. She curses the referee, and he just starts choking. Black stuff's coming from his mouth, and he literally just drops in the corner, which basically leads to the pinfall to end the match, essentially. But yeah, I didn't much care for that. I'm not much for I guess gimmicks like that. But yeah, I don't really have a problem with the match. It was just kind of the ending for me that kind of threw me off a little bit.
Yeah, and then after that happens, Alba Fire goes to pin Isla Dawn once or twice, but obviously there's no ref. A new ref comes in, but at that point, Isla Dawn's back on her feet. She throws Alba Fire into the middle turnbuckle, and she gets the pin. And wins the match. But yeah, like you said, it was a solid match. This was definitely a pay-per-view where if you want a real opinion, you'd have to watch it for yourself and kind of, like you said, just form your own opinion on it. But yeah, I enjoy this match. Now going into our third match, we have the NXT Tag Team Champions Pretty Deadly going against the New Day. This is another good match on the card, but this one was more like almost like a comedy match. There's like a few like little bits where it was just them doing something funny. I'll let you get to that more, but yeah, I really enjoyed this match. But yeah.
Yeah, this was definitely a funny match, but don't get it wrong, they're still great. Obviously, Kofi has been in the company for so long that like he knows all the tricks to like get the crowd going and pumped up and all that type of stuff. So at one point, he's in the middle of the ring. I forget what happens exactly like right before that, but Kofi basically just starts like twerking in the middle of the ring, and the crowd like starts loving it. They're like chanting and all that. And then Kit, I believe, he comes in and then he starts twerking. They're having like a twerk off basically, and it was a pretty funny moment. But shortly after that, Kofi gets both of them on the outside of the ring, like near the announcer's table. Then he goes flying over the top rope onto Pretty Deadly, and yeah, it was like a pretty good move that he did. I believe he flipped over the rope or maybe just dove over, but it was a great move. And then also I believe this was Kid again, but he like goes and slams Kofi into the turnbuckle from the outside of the ring, so he's hitting like the metal post obviously, and then he like flips around and he like super sells that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great match. They had a lot of funny moments like that. At one point I also believe this was Kit as well, but he like kind of mocks Kofi with the boom 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 in the middle of the ring. But yeah, towards the end, the New Day wins the Tag Team Champions after a tag. Xavier Woods tags Kofi, and then Kofi goes in. Xavier kind of like holds him down, and he jumps off the top for his finisher, gets him down. Then Kofi tags Xavier in. I'm not really sure why, but he tags him in just to get the pin, and that's pretty much the end of the match. And now New Day is surprisingly the NXT Tag Team Champions, and now they held the most tag team belts and every tag team belt since Kofi obviously was in the company. But yeah, it was a really good match though.
Yeah, Kofi and them become the first or another team to have the Triple Crown Tag Team Champions, like you mentioned. And Kofi's now held tag team titles 15 times, which is kind of crazy to think that in his almost, I think, 12-year career now, has held the tag team titles 15 times a piece. So yeah, like I said, this is another great match. I enjoyed this one. Yeah. Now going into our fourth match, we have the Men's Iron Survivor Challenge, and our participants in this one is Axiom, JD McDonough, Carmelo Hayes, Grayson Waller, and Joe Gacy. Yeah, this is a good one. I did prefer the women's one more than this. Some like the key moments for this one where you have Grayson Waller, as soon as he comes in, he dives through the bottom rope and hits a stunner on JD McDonough and Axiom, and gets both pins on him immediately and pretty much takes the lead, and that would in the end set him up to win the entire match. Another cool moment was when Axiom was inside the pod, and then he climbs onto the top and then does like a backflip onto pretty much everybody, I'm pretty sure, and like clears house pretty much. But yeah, the closing segment I did kind of like. You had Carmelo do like off the top rope. He jumped like how high he can jump is so crazy to me. Like he jumps so high, does like a leg drop onto Axiom, pretty much knocking him out almost. But then Grayson Waller pulls him off, pins Axiom, and pretty much secures the win. But as that's like a minute left, and then as that happens, he just starts running around the ring trying to like get everybody out the ring to make sure no one else can get pinned. And yeah, it was a cool like sequence to end the match. I enjoyed it. What was your like overall thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely prefer the women's one better. I think the women's one overall was match of the night. I think that's probably like the consensus between everybody. But yeah, I definitely prefer the women's one. But this one was great too. Yeah, like I said, I'm not like familiar with a lot of these people, and somebody who impressed me in this one is Axiom. He's definitely like a high flyer, just a super technical person it seems. But yeah, he definitely impressed me. Even Carmelo Hayes did. Alright, and for the main event of Deadline, we have Apollo Crews versus Braun Breaker for the NXT World Championship, and basically the theme of this match is just them like showing off their athleticism for big men. They have no business being that athletic for their size, and yeah, they're just showing off their strength and athleticism. At one point, Braun Breaker dives over the top rope onto Apollo Crews. That was super impressive. And also, Apollo Crews, I mean, even Braun Breaker does it too at one point, but he does just standing backflips onto him, and like, I just think that's so like impressive, like, because I can't even do it at my size, and I'm like a skinny guy. Like, I'm pretty athletic myself, but like, nowhere near them, and I probably should be. I should probably start doing something. Like, looking at them makes me want to go to the gym or something, but like, yeah, they were just super impressive, super athletic, and yeah, at the end of the day, Braun Breaker ends up retaining. He's still your NXT World Champion. And yeah, this is probably the second best match of the night. It is the second best match of the night. But yeah, I'll let you talk about what happened at the very end. But for me, they were just super impressive. I was already familiar with Apollo Crews, but Braun Breaker had his chance to just kind of show me what he was made of, and he impressed.
Yeah, like you said, at the end of the match, as Braun Breaker is kind of celebrating, Grayson Waller comes out and hits him with a stunner, and pretty much is going to set up a future title shot between the two. Yeah, Grayson Waller's a guy who is definitely a really good heel. I think he plays his role very well, maybe almost too well, you would say, but yeah, yeah, I think that's going to be a pretty solid match when it does happen. I'm kind of looking forward to the next one. Yeah, like I said, I was pretty much impressed by almost everybody. I was impressed by everybody, I would say. Yeah, I enjoyed it. What was your overall what's your overall thoughts on the pay-per-view?
So yeah, this is essentially my first full NXT pay-per-view. I've seen like bits and pieces of some before, like of people who like I was familiar with, so I'd go and like watch their matches specifically, but this is my first full-length NXT pay-per-view I've watched, at least in a long time that I remember. But yeah, everybody impressed me. Roxanne Perez is definitely, I think, the one that impressed me the most out of the entire pay-per-view. And even just the crowd getting behind her the way she did at the very beginning. It was just super cool, and you could tell that like she was enjoying the moment as well. Like, you see her smiling a lot, and she was loving the crowd reaction to her for sure. But yeah, I love the pay-per-view. And yeah, I think I'll start tuning in some more NXT pay-per-views.
Yeah, that was our NXT deadline review and results. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Let us know what you thought about the pay-per-view. And yeah, it's been Justin and Travis, and see you guys in the next video.